Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. It's Tamara Abney, your Mrs. Pennsylvania International 2024, and I am happy to be here with you again with another edition of Let's Go Live. So today we are going live with a new friend of mine. Her name is Fran. She is the Executive Director of the Mitzvah Circle. I met her at the Governor's Mansion during Menstrual Hygiene Week, and I just knew that I had to have her on because she's doing such wonderful work at her organization. So let's get right to it. Fran, if you're out there, please request to join the live. Here we are. Hi, Fran.
Can you see me okay or no?
I can see you better now.
Okay. I couldn't get you on the computer, so I have you on the phone here.
All right. Perfect. How are you doing today?
Okay, I'm well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. I just think this is a wonderful way to broaden everyone's awareness about all the great work that's happening in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So I'm really excited that you're able to join me and tell everybody about all the work that you're doing. So why don't you start there, Fran? Introduce yourself and introduce your organization.
Sure. I'm Fran Held. I'm the founder and director here at Mitzvah Circle. We serve families during times of crisis, poverty, homeless, and serious illness. I'm in our facility, which is not air conditioned.
Oh, no.
So I have a fan on and I'm sweating. So I'm sorry, everybody, but I'm thrilled to be with you. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Fran. So, Fran, when we were at the Governor's Mansion with the First Lady, we were talking all about menstrual equity. Can you tell me how your organization addresses menstrual poverty and equity in your area?
Sure. So we have 324 partner organizations, right? 112 are schools, other organizations, even like early intervention, which is in every county in Pennsylvania, serving moms and kids. And early intervention is really for the kids, but what they learned is that the moms don't have pads. They're not going to bring the kids to get services that they might need. So we have looked at what are the poorest zip codes in our area. We do southeastern Pennsylvania. We're in about 11 counties, so it's a little more than southeastern Pennsylvania. But what we do is we try and make product available in the best way we can to keep dignity and have people feel hopeful that they don't have to ask somebody and be embarrassed or feel shame.
So, Fran, how many, and I have a lot of questions because I know you're doing a lot of good things I want to bring up. But how do you primarily package your menstrual hygiene goods right now?
So we buy them from a manufacturer who manufactures them for us and it has our label on it. And we make sure to give each person in need of product a minimum of 30 pads or 30 tampons each time. So in our facility, people are eligible. If you're a family that we're delivering to your door, you're eligible every 3 months, right? So we make sure that you have that amount. But in schools or community colleges, or like I said, early intervention, we give them bulk supplies. They sign a contract with us. They're one of our valued partners. And then they provide those items to the people that they serve, whether it's in pads or in a bathroom. Like our local libraries, we give all the pads to, right? So they just fill up the bowl. Right, when the bowl in the bathroom is empty, they fill it up from what we provide to them.
And some of the conversations that you're having, like for example with the libraries, what was that conversation like when they approached you? Were they just saying like, hey, people keep on coming to the front desk asking for pads, can you help us? Tell us a little bit about that.
So some of the libraries we approached because we knew they had a large homeless population. And so when people are homeless, they often go to the library to work on the computer if they don't have a smartphone, right? To sign up for government assistance, to apply for jobs, to look for housing. And so we knew that that was a place that people were when they didn't have the product they need. So we approached the library, and some libraries said that they didn't really want to have pads in the library because they were concerned, but most libraries were very gracious and said, absolutely, bring them and we'll just stock them. It'll be part of our, daily routine, which has been wonderful.
So you talked about some of them were concerned. Everyone always asks me some of the challenges I face as that provides product. Tell me about some of the things that what were they concerned about?
So in community colleges and libraries, they're concerned about someone stealing the whole bowl of pads. So what? We will give you more pads. Like if somebody steals it, they need it, right? That's what we learned. They're also worried that somebody's going to take the whole bowl and flush it down their toilet and give them a plumbing bill. Like, is that real? seems unlikely, right? It seems unlikely. It seems like the people who need the items will come and get them, and then everyone else will just be like, oh, there's pads in the bathroom. So what?
Correct. I remember years ago, I did a in-service for some school teachers, and the teachers said the same thing. They said, well, if we put out all the pads, you know, they'll take them all. And I said, they're probably taking them all because they need them, and they're probably taking them to
And
the family members as well. So I'm really glad that you just said that. Like, let them. We have some more. We will give it to you. We will help you refill it.
people who have means and have funds, they're going to want wings,
Yes.
thin, longs. They have very specific preferences. The people who are taking from a generic pad in a basket are people who don't have access.
Correct. So, Fran, I know, and I'm very excited about this, that you're doing a lot of work with students, and I think you called them ambassadors. Can you tell us a little bit about that program and how they are addressing menstrual equity within the schools?
Sure. So we have teen ambassadors. It's an application program, so the teens have to apply. We accept a 30 to 35 in each cohort. So there's a cohort in the spring or summer, it starts in June, and the other cohorts in December. And those students are with us all through high school. So they may sign up as freshmen, they might sign up as sophomores, but they agree to come at least once a month. And in terms of menstrual equity, they all have a learning piece. So we address this. We address period poverty. We address a lack of hygiene items for people who need them, and how government assistance might not cover everything. So we want to work shoulder to shoulder with our state officials in the Commonwealth to make sure that people can get what they need. So we give out all of those products, and then students can turn around and do product understanding for people in their school, right? So they can be the leader of the club that fills up the pads in the bathroom. But I've had students do a whole thing where they had a whole day on menstrual equity and wrote poetry and had a whole thing about it to raise awareness in their school. So that doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen often where people feel really motivated and want to do collections and want to tell their friends. And I think it's good for also for young men who are in high school to understand this is an issue. And so it's not something to make fun of or to joke about, but to understand the seriousness. And our students really do, which is something that I think is really important.
Which I think is, you made a wonderful point that you have a lot of young men that are involved in this.
Correct.
And they're not shy to talk about menstruation. They're actually out there helping their fellow students.
Right.
Correct?
Decide, like, I'm not going to do the pad collection, but I'll talk to you about why it's necessary. And then if I have to bring it to Mitzvah Circle, okay, maybe. But I think it's good. And I think, as the governor had said, he didn't say the word pad before. He hadn't had to say pads and tampons, pads and tampons, pads and tampons. And I think saying that is really good because it makes that something that everybody could say, just like people need toilet paper in the bathroom. Like, this shouldn't even be a thing.
Right. It shouldn't be a
Right.
thing.
Right.
But so, first question, how excited are you that $3 million got put into the budget?
I think it's amazing. I think it was a wonderful thing to do. I did say that they were going to get it from day one. I know people were like, they're not going to get it from day one. This is going to be really hard. There are lots of things that are hard. And I remember saying, look, this is like apple pie, right? You can't say no to apple pie. This is a basic human need. And somebody looked at me and said, not everybody likes apples, right? So I have to stand corrected on that. Everyone isn't going to agree, but I think it is wonderful. I think it was hard work. And I think it took a little bit of courage to come out and say, we're going to do this. We're going to get this in schools, and we're going to meet the people where we can get it to them, which is why we go to all the poor zip codes, because people can't travel, right? People don't have the money for those things. So if you said, I'm having a big period supply giveaway, take 3 buses and a train, like, who's coming? Said no one ever, right? You have to make it and go to people.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I'm very excited for us to be able to be part of that process and say that we sat at the table and had these conversations and hopefully help push this a little bit further.
And explain the need. I think you did a beautiful job explaining the need. This is why this is important.
Yeah. it was wonderful. And speaking of kind of sitting at the table and collaborations, do you work with any other organizations? I know you have partner organizations that you're providing, but are you doing any partnering with advocates?
You mean with people who advocate with representatives and things like that? So we do our own advocacy, right? So we meet with all our representatives and other people throughout the state. We invite every representative in southeastern Pennsylvania and every senator to come visit us and to discuss this topic. And some come and some don't come, but we invite them. And the ones who don't come, we invite them year after year after year and hope that one day they will love us enough to show up. But we do. We invite people all the time because I think it's really important. And I think we're talking about, pads and tampons and menstrual equity. But for us, remember, that's one piece of what we do to get people to be able to go to work and go to school. And I think everybody should be able to get behind that, right? Without these products, as you know, it's shame and it's all kinds of other issues, but yet people can't go to school and people can't go to work. And I don't think there's one person who thinks that people should not be going to work and going to school.
I mean, I think what you just said is like the whole basis of even my platform as Mrs. Pennsylvania International, right. Even when I said, my platform is called Carefree School Days, period. It's really not about the pad and the tampon or even having a period. It's about, we want to make sure that there are no barriers put in place so that our kids, right? So that adults can go to school. We want to take away the barriers.
Correct. And that's, when I created Mitzvah Circle in my garage, it was created to remove the barrier to entry. And what I heard from families in need was that they had to travel. They had to travel to get things. And people said the biggest barrier is food. It's the biggest barrier. We need more food banks. And we do need more food banks. Mm-hmm. But the barrier to all of these things is transportation and the inability to get to where those things are being given out. And so that's why we deliver to the doors of the families. We deliver to some of the agencies, and we expect the other agencies who have trucks and big infrastructure to come pick up. But part of our agreement with those agencies is that they don't force people to travel to get the pads and the tampons and diapers and whatever else we're giving out, that they need to make it accessible to the families that they serve, because that's our mission.
So, Fran, if someone is interested in supporting your work, how can they learn more about your organization?
So they can go to our website, mitzvahcircle.org. And Mitzvah Circle means a circle of kindness. And I think really everyone can get behind that, because as I tell our teen ambassadors that we were talking about, you didn't put on your own braces, right? You have an ear infection. A doctor helped you. Someone looked in your ear and gave you amoxicillin. Somebody did your teeth. We all need help. And this is a way that's very simple that you could spend some time helping someone else.
Correct. And what is coming up in the future when it comes to menstrual equity? Do you have any big initiatives coming up or anything that people can maybe,
So one thing we've been doing, which is more recent for us, is that we have been supplying the Pennsylvania Women's Correctional Facility with pads because they don't have enough for the people that they serve. And menstrual equity in prisons and also juvenile justice centers is a very big problem, and not one that we could solve today, but it's a huge issue. So we have been providing to prisons and to juvenile justice centers for the most vulnerable teens to be able to get what they need.
Fran, that's something that we don't talk about a lot. Us in the world of menstrual equity know the issue. Can you quickly touch upon why menstrual equity in prisons and correctional facilities is such a important topic? So, I know nuance and it's a big story, but for those that don't understand, because a lot of times I talk about it and they're like, oh, I never even thought about the prisons. Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. So in prison, you need an account to be able to get stuff at a prison store, which means somebody needs to have money. It doesn't mean no one loves you. It means someone needs to have money to place in your account for you to get those products. And what I learned very recently was that the state will supply the prisons with a little bit of product, which I didn't know, but it's not enough product for the people in that facility. And I don't know whether it's because our facilities are overcrowded or it's because of some distribution issue before the prison, in the prison, something to do with the correctional facility. I don't know the answer to that. But at the end of the day, I don't want someone to feel like they need to trade sex or do something that compromises their own ethics in order to have a pad or a tampon that they're in need of.
Yeah. For those out there, it may pain you to learn that a lot of times people that are experiencing, or experiencing menstruation and they're in correctional facilities usually have to do some favors in order to get extra menstrual products. So that is what Fran's really addressing, making sure that we don't have to do anything extra besides just show up and say, hey, can I have a pad to get one? Another issue that's layered on top of it, a lot of times, is the quality of the pads that they're getting.
Right.
Yeah, they're very low quality sometimes, and they don't really address the different needs
Correct.
of people in the facilities. So if you have a very heavy flow, you are getting that same pad that somebody else with the light flow is getting. Like, it is what it is.
And you may be getting just one of them.
You may just be getting one of them. So, yeah.
Schools, when the school nurses would only give a student one pad and the student would not show up for school the next day. Well, of course they wouldn't, because one pad will not get you to school, right? I mean, and so part of that is our understanding of that.
Well, Fran, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know that you were busy and you are probably hot in your warehouse working.
It's okay. I look ridiculous, but I'm thrilled to be with you. You look fantastic. I appreciate you having me. You look great. I mean, we are sweating it out here. I'm telling you. Yeah.
I look like a 12-year-old because I am leaving for my international pageant this weekend. And I said, I'm giving my hair a rest. I'm giving my face a rest. I'm not going to put on.
You look great. No, you look beautiful. So you're beautiful just the way you are. You don't need any of that stuff.
Well, I appreciate that very, very.
You look great. And so be in touch with me, okay? And thanks for having me. And I think the issues that you're bringing up are really critical and really important for people to hear about. So thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, no, thank you, Fran. And we will definitely be in touch. We have lots of.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. And thank you for watching.
Of course. Thanks, everybody.